Hello and welcome to the Cloister. This is the 8th part in our series on the Rule of Saint Benedict, led by the monks of Glenstal Abbey. In today's episode, Father John considers the place of work in the rule. I hope these gentle reflections continue to be a blessing to you.
I'm very glad to give you some ideas about work in the monastery with reference to chapter 48 of the Rule of Benedict. So I think the first thing would be to quote a little bit of it. And the first line is, in English, "Idleness is the enemy of the soul. The brethren, therefore, must be occupied at stated hours in manual labor and in sacred reading." So I think that's a pretty good line to start with. And idleness is the enemy of the soul, therefore. So that seems to be the reason why Benedict wants people to get to work, to keep them in a certain kind of balance of life between the manual work, the reading, and indeed the prayer. We'll come to that. Another reason he gives later on is actually for financial purposes. If the harvest is good and there aren't enough workers and the monks have to do the work, they shouldn't complain. So that is a valid reason for doing this kind of physical work. Though he adds on, it should never be excessive. So you see, he's not money hungry. Then there are two other places in the rule where it makes reference to manual labor. One is in chapter 50. It just says that if the monks are working at a distance from the monastery oratory, they should respect the normal prayer times. And in chapter 57, it says that if any of the monastic craftsmen are puffed up with self-importance, they should be relieved of their tasks till they get back to kind of more humble position. So those are the three major things in the rule, which we should comment on. But I'd like to put it in a little bit of context, because there are, in my copy anyway, of the Rule of Benedict, 80 pages. And what occupies the theme of work is just 3 pages, and it's lost somewhere in the middle of those 80. 14 pages are given over to organizing the prayer of the community, and it's up front. It's early in the rule. So its position, the talk on work is, pretty downgraded. And fundamental principle also of the Benedictine life and the rule is that the opera manuum, the manual work, is always to yield place to the operi Dei, the work of God. As it says in chapter 43, nothing is to be preferred to the work of God. So that puts work in its place, right? That's the context. And you can see from that work is really secondary to prayer. It's to make sure that the balance of life is correct between prayer, work, and reading. And it shouldn't be leading to kind of negative personality developments or moral attitudes like jealousy or greed or self-importance. And then finally, it should help to pay the bills. So that's what the rule says. But there's another aspect which I'd like to say, which is of my 3 points, this is the second one, which is that little is said, and therefore lots is permitted. And I like that, because the rule of Benedict is not giving direction on what we are supposed to be doing. It's not setting it out for a mission to go off and preach to people, or to run schools, or run hospitals, or whatever, run farms. It's not talking about training. It's not talking about management. The field is wide open. And that was good news for me whenever I was thinking about joining the monastery. You don't have to be like a priest in the making. You don't have to be super talented. You don't have to have a particular skill set. We take pretty much anything. And that's really handy. You don't have to have a lot of abilities. And also it caters for different stages of life, so that when you're young and energetic, you might be keen to do certain things and not keen to do them in midlife or later in life, or even in retirement. And you should maybe have some activity in retirement. So it doesn't depend on the type of person you are. There's room for you in the monastery to make your contribution. And we hope everybody has room to make their very sacred and special contribution. It was really important that for me when I was joining the monastery, because I'm a psychologist by training, and I was really aware of the stages of life. And I didn't want to get caught in a dead-end religious order. So I had to be flexible. So you, like in our monastery in Glenstal, you could be a teacher if you're able to and if you like it. Management. Some people are priests. Some people work in hospitality is very valuable. Some are musicians, scholars, even techie people making podcasts. There's room for any old people. So that is a thing. All ways of serving God and our neighbor are options. And the monasteries themselves vary accordingly. Some monasteries in Europe are very educationally orientated. Ones in Africa are more agricultural. If you go back through history, you find various different profiles for different monasteries. So the third thing I want to say now is that this has perhaps some helpful guidance for the times we live in, because people are thinking about life choices and balance of life and reevaluating the position of work in life. And can take a look at the Rule of Benedict and its tradition, because work is not the top priority here. It's the prayer. And work also has a different profile now and into the future. We can do this long distance work on Zoom and in computers. And work can have a different profile now and a different position in one's life than it has in the recent past. And secondly, much that is done in the monastery is not remunerative, has not got a financial ticket on it, and it's very valuable. And in a way, like implicitly, Benedict is saying that in the rule itself, that hospitality, relationships, community involvement, other things which build up the community are extremely important. The music, the liturgy, you don't get a penny for that. A third thing I want to say that the rule might remind people of is that achievements are not really meant to be reasons for pride and arrogance, okay? Remember what St. Paul said, what have you that you have not been given? And then the final thing I want to say is that all this, like the whole rule says at the very beginning, is so that the human being grows and develops in Christian maturity. That is, in the love of God and the love of neighbor. And there's no ambiguity about that. From the page 1 of the Rule of Benedict, that is what the pattern of our life is directed towards, the growth of love.
Thank you for listening to The Cloister. New episodes are released fortnightly, and we hope that you will join us again soon. God bless.